Hi, and welcome to Binge Box, a show where I recommend my favorites because I watch a lot of TV, read quite a fair bit, and listen to a lot of podcasts, and to tell you what's actually worthy of your time. I'm Awais. Today we're talking about something that we all generally do. What usually happens when you are, or well, rather were, traveling? Where to stay? What to check out? What do? You check out the reviews for that place. Even as simple as going for a restaurant, you check out the ratings, the reviews that people have left for that place. Today, we are talking about a podcast that tackles just that. Investigated by journalist and host Natasha Del Toro, the podcast shines a light on the events of horror when, despite having all the reviews from a checked and a verified account, things go horribly wrong. This is not a story about victims. It is a story about a group of fearless women who band together to bring the predator to justice. The surprising bit is, this is a policeman who has turned a predator and found an exploitative loophole. And he's so integrated within the justice system that regular people outside those systems have to think twice before taking someone like him on, especially in a new country or in a new environment where you're not familiar with people. With interviews and audio clips from different women, Natasha Del Toro in this first season of Verified takes a deep dive into exploring how loopholed these systems are and how exploitative they can be. The hosting site, apart from suspending the profile, cannot do much or own up to it lest their reputation get tarnished, leaving the room for the predator to strike again, with an idea as simple as adding a number at the end of it. For anyone coming at me with statements like, these girls should have known better, or why they are traveling alone, or how could they just stay with this person, calm your tits and pause yourself and reflect that you are putting all the blame on the victim and coming for them instead of the predator. What would you achieve by that victim blaming? Analyze your life. Even a couple of months ago, Sarah Everard was a much horrific story where she was kidnapped and murdered by a police officer. And people going on like, what is she doing out of the night? She wore the brightest of clothes, she was in the camera's eye line, and she still did not survive. So when victim blaming in the case of violence against women, you lot, yes, I'm looking all of you need to take a hard look at yourself and try to criticize the social systems in the place and make them better instead of victim blaming. I digress. The show Verified prompts us to ask these questions. What information is true according to whom? Should I even trust this information what I'm reading? Sure, it's a true crime podcast, but it is also about the systems that are supposed to keep people accountable and human beings who challenge those systems. The podcast does become a bit repetitive in some episodes, but then when things start picking up, the pace definitely keeps you on edge. The podcast now has a second season out too, where Natasha and her team investigates Johnson & Johnson baby powder and the lead poisoning scandal that went to court against them. I've heard good things about that too. I'll keep you updated if I come across it and listen to it. A few bonus episodes about Verified's first season are only Stitcher exclusive. Stitcher is an app where you can listen to podcasts, but this podcast is definitely worth a listen and investing your time in. As usual, follow me on Instagram at bingeboxpodcast.com and send in your emails, feedbacks, recommendations at bingeboxpodcast@gmail.com. Cheers!